Hi, I'm Dave Vickers and welcome to the Photo Show. In a previous episode we were looking at sizing images in Photoshop so that you send them off for printing. Now I've now actually got those prints back with me and I've also got the frames. So in today's episode we're going to look at framing up a photograph. Remember, if you like what you see on the Photo Show, please comment, like and subscribe in the boxes below. Let's get on and frame up a photo. Right, so after the pictures have arrived, I've actually now got the frames here that I can start framing up the photos that we had printed before. Let me get the frame out of its packaging here. Get that out of the way. Let's have a look. And what we've got here is a lovely quality frame. They did actually have images in them beforehand, but I've taken those out. So that's why the string's missing on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by turning the frame over. And we've got all of the little clips here that are holding the backing in. So I need to lift those up. Hopefully you can see those clearly. So I'm just using a letter opener here, but you could use a small screwdriver or something similar just to lift those up out of the way and push them into the side of the frame. We whiz round and get all of these opened up first. I'm sure there is a proper name for these, but I'm just going to call them little tabs that go around the edge of the frame. Right, so that's all the little tabs raised up now. And next thing I'm going to do is just very gently lift the backing board out. I'm just going to use the letter opener just to get an edge on it there for me. Now I've got the backing board. I'll slide that out of the way. And I'll put that down for a minute to one side. The next thing in here we're very lucky because we've got a piece of plain card that I can actually back the images onto. I was going to buy some polyboards to do this, but when I opened the frames up they already had a piece of card in there to back them up as well. And then the last thing we've got inside the frame is the white mat that goes around the edge of the photo to frame it within the picture. So let's put that down to one side. Right, now I'm going to get the main part of the frame out of the way. I can see from this that the glass on the frame has got some finger marks on it, so I'll have to clean that up at the end anyway. So let's get the frame out of the way now. So the two parts that I want straight away now are our backing board and the mat for the frame. And you can tell there's two sides to the frame, the mat. And the outside, the bit that goes towards the frame, has a little beveled edge on it. So hopefully you can see that. I'll show you that as well. You'll see that one side is plain cut and the other has a little bevel on it. And that sits on the backing just like that. So basically what I need to do now is to get the photo in and to make a sandwich between the backboard, the photo, and the mat of the frame. So let's get the mat out of the way for a second. Let me get the photo. Now, because these photos arrived in a tube, I've actually let them flatten out a bit. I've actually laid them flat for a few days. They've still got a slight curl on them. So my plan is to actually adhere or stick the photograph to this backing board, and then we have the mat over the top like that. You shift the photo slightly so we're exactly where we want it. And that's what we're looking to end up making. It's framing the image perfectly. We've got a bit of spare around the outside of the image for any slight adjustments. So that's going to look fabulous. So for a second, let's get the photo out of the way now. For a start, I'm just going to lay the mat over the top of the board. Okay, and make sure that's all lined up with the backing board there. Got a nice sharp little pencil, and what I'm going to do is just mark in the corners on the backing board where the corners of the mat actually sit. So I know exactly where the image needs to be stuck down on the backboard to line up perfectly with the mats there. Let's get that out of the way. I'm just going to grab a ruler. And all I'm going to do is just extend this line across so I've got a visual representation of how to do it. Just using a simple see-through ruler here, lining it up there with the edge. I'm just going to do a really light line just to line up with that, and do the similar for the vertical line. Right, and I'll do that on all four corners, and that's going to give me a reference point for where the photo sits on this board. So let me just do that part now. Okay, so that's all four corners done now, and I've just got these little reference lines here. If I bring the print back in now, if I lay the print down, I've got these vertical and horizontal lines that let me know exactly where the edge of the mat will sit. So if I put those on the lines now, bring the mat back in over the top, there we go. So that's exactly where I want the print to sit on the backboard. That's going to work perfectly. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a little bit of tape here. This is just Scotch tape. You can use Welsh tape or English tape as well if you like. And I'm just going to half tape on the edge there. So I'm just very lightly taping the edge of the print to the edge of the board. Just a couple of bits of tape there, just to hold it. I'm just doing little bits of tape here, just in case I need to reposition it. I don't have to rip off a load of tape then to make this work. Next thing I'm going to do, where I've just taped it at the edge now, I'm just going to hinge it open like a book. So I now know that that edge is held in the position that I want it to be. And I'm just going to add a couple of bits of double-sided tape onto the back of the photo here, so that we can hold it down to the board. If it wasn't such a large size print, I probably wouldn't bother doing this part, and if it wasn't also the fact that it come delivered in a roll, so that it had the tendency to roll up, I probably wouldn't have bothered doing this as well. But just to be double safe, just so that it's always going to sit flat within the frame, I'm just going to put a little bit of double-sided tape at each corner of the picture. Just one at each corner, and just for super safety, I'm going to put one in the centre as well. Right, so that's all 5 pieces of double-sided tape down there now. Next thing I'm going to do is just peel the backing off the double-sided tape. Right, so that's all 5 pieces of tape with the backing off. Next thing I'm going to do is just hinge this back the way that I started. And I'm going to work at this edge where I already had the tape down. And just make sure that the print is very square on the board, and just very gently brush out to the edges so that it holds down for me. Now this is actually a luster finish on the print, so if it was a glossy print I'd be much more careful about touching the actual surface of the print. Because it's a luster finish, you should be alright with fingerprints. I would still not advise to actually touch the main print. The fact that we've got a nice wide border around here from it being a 20 by 16 print gives us a nice areas touch. So now that's sitting nice and square. I've got a slight raise on that side, so I'm just going to use a little bit of tape just to hold that side down as well. I just want this to be nice and flat within the frame. because any little ripples or bulges will show up when light reflects off of the picture in the frame. So the flatter it is now, the better it will look in the finished article. So right, that's that stage done. We've now got the print stuck down to the backing board, and it's in the right place for when we add the mat of the frame. So we've got the mat of the frame now, and now we know, because these two are exactly the same size, the board that we've backed it to and the mat, when we put this back into the frame, it's all going to line up perfectly and sit nice and square, because the frame fits perfectly to these two pieces that we have here. I think the next thing I need to do is to just clean the glass on the frame. So I'll go and clean the glass, and then we'll come back and we'll do the next part of actually putting this into the frame and finishing it off. Right, so I'm going to put this to one side for a second while I get the frame back in again. Let's bring the frame back in. And with this frame we can tell what's the top and what's the bottom, because it has these hangers on it for putting it up on the wall. So we know that this is going to be the top of the frame, this is going to be the bottom of the frame. And you can see at the moment, nothing in it. So I've taken the glass out of it. It's actually like a plastic, like a polycarbonate. And I've given this a clean, just to get rid of any dust marks or marks on the glass at all. Looking at it, I've just put a couple of fingerprints on the edge when I carried it, so let's just wipe those off again. That's looking fine. A couple on that edge as well. It's always worth cleaning the glass off as best you can before you put the image together, because there's nothing worse than sealing it all back in and then realising that you've got marks or dust or anything on the inside of the glass. So the side I'm most concerned about is the inside, the bit that's going to sit facing the photo, because the outside we can always clean once the frame's together. Right, so I think that's about as good as we're going to get the glass at the moment. And I'm going to slide that into the frame. Like that. Just go around the bottom there, just to lift that up. And there we go. The glass is now sitting on the little rebate within the frame, so that's not going to fall through. Now we take our picture and mat together, we turn it over. And because we know these are the same size, this is going to line up once it's in the frame. Once it sits in the rebate of the frame, this will sit perfectly. So there we go. That's dropped down inside there now. And last thing I need to do is to add the backboard back in, so let's get that. So it's just a piece of hardboard. I'm just looking to which side I think looks the best. I think that side looks the best. And we slide that in as well. And just get it to drop into the rebate. Sometimes it might need a little bit of persuading because of the little metal tabs that you hold it down with. But there we go. That's now sitting nice and tight. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fold in a couple of the tabs just to hold it in place, but I want to turn it over and check it before I do all of the tabs down, because again there's going to be nothing worse than putting all of these tabs down, turning it over and realizing you've got a bit of dust or something between the glass and the image and having to take it all apart again. So cross fingers we won't have to do that. Right, so I guess now it's time for the big reveal. When I turn this over, whoa, there we go. So now we have a beautifully framed image Just checking there's no dust or marks between the glass and the image itself. That's looking fine. So there we go. That's the print now within the frame. I've now done all three of these, so I can now deliver them. So the last thing I'll do is just tighten up the tabs on the back, and the job is done. I'm Dave Vickers. This is the Photo Show. Thanks for watching. See you next time.